Welcome again to another in our series of questions Jesus asked. Our question today comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 22, verse 48. Judas, would you betray me with a kiss? To give our question its context, we'll be reading verses 47 through 53. While he was still speaking, there came a crowd, and the man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus said to him, Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss? When those who were around him saw what would follow, they said, Lord, shall we strike with the sword? And one of them struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. Then Jesus said, No more of this. And he touched his ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests and officers of the temple and elders who had come out against him, Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you day after day in the temple, you did not lay hands on me. But this is your hour and the power of darkness. I'm a fan of the spy thriller genre of novels and movies. One of my favorites is John le Carre's The Spy Who Came In from the Cold. It's a Cold War era novel that became a movie by the same name. Many consider it one of, if not the best spy novel ever written. It concerns the spying of the United Kingdom's MI6 against the communist East Germans. It has all the intrigue of the tensions that existed between the two sides during the tumultuous times that brought us to the brink of nuclear war. Often one side did not know who they could trust. Spies, and double agents, moles, informants, and more added to the suspense. It was not unusual for those who were thought to be trusted and loyal agents to, in fact, be working for the other side. You come to expect that someone in a spy novel or movie is a double agent who really is working for the other side. It is amazing that the reasons behind why someone would switch sides isn't always ideological in nature. Not surprising that one of the reasons, if not the leading reason, is money. It was a common denominator among those who would turn against their country. Good old-fashioned greed. In Lydia R. Wilson's research of what motivated those who committed espionage, she studied some of the most notorious spies who were caught and revealed the reasons. Aldrich Ames, who spied for the KGB while at the CIA, is quoted as saying after he got caught, Why did I do it? I did it for the money, period. I'm not lying. I wanted the cash. John Walker, the Navy chief warrant officer, who also spied for the KGB, said the same thing. I became a spy because I needed the money. It was as simple as that. Robert Hansen and Jonathan Pollard both admitted they too were in it for the money. The reasons for the need of cash were investigated, but money was the common denominator in many of those who betrayed their country. The betrayal of Jesus by Judas Iscariot has been one of the most puzzling of reversals of loyalty in history. Many have formulated reasons as to why this chosen disciple would turn on one of whom he obviously knew to be the Son of God. Further, by Judas's own admission, one who was innocent. For we read in Matthew 27, 3 through 4. Then when Judas, his betrayer, saw that Jesus was condemned, he changed his mind and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. They said, What is that to us? See to it yourself. Scholars and skeptics have muddied the waters with fanciful theories that seek to find the real causes behind Judas' betrayal of Jesus. The long-lost text of the Gospel of Judas claims Judas was Jesus' favorite disciple, and that the Savior asked Judas to betray him in order to fulfill his destiny as a Messiah. Other theories depict Judas as an outsider among the disciples, not from Galilee, but from Kirioth in southern Judea. Others suggest Judas was a member of the Jewish rebels known as the Sicarii, or dagger men, who wanted to throw off the chains of the Roman occupation. All of these and more seek to find a cause to dampen the damage he has done by betraying Jesus. But at the heart of it is good old-fashioned greed. Exactly what Paul would warn us of when he writes in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs. Judas' love of money was made evident in John's gospel when he wrote in John 12, verses 3 through 6. Mary, therefore, took a pound of expensive ointment made from pure nard and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, he who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this ointment not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief, and having charge of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put into it. Each of the four gospel accounts variously describe this scene there in the Garden of Gethsemane. John described the familiar place they met in John 18, verses 1 through 3. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Matthew describes it by name in Matthew 26:36. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." Mark, like Matthew, describes the signal Judas will use. Mark 14, verses 44 and 45. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I will kiss is the man. Seize him and lead him away under guard." And when he came, he went up to him at once and said, "Rabbi," and he kissed him. Luke alone transcribes the brief exchange of Jesus and Judas. In Luke 22, verses 47 and 48. While he was still speaking, there came a crowd, and the man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said to him, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" Of all the signals Jesus could have used, it was the kiss. He could have told them, "The one I point out," or "the one who answers when I call out his name," or any other way of identifying. But a kiss? The holy kiss. How utterly underhanded was this signal. Under the guise of friendship. Luke records the irony of such an act. "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" Not surprising, since Luke records for us in Luke 22, verse 3, "Then Satan entered into Judas called Iscariot, who was of the number of the 12. Paul would warn us of the devil's sly ways when he wrote to the church at Corinth in 2 Corinthians 11, verses 13 through 15. "For such men are false apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their deeds." For as long as the world will turn, the name Judas Iscariot will be associated and synonymous with those who would betray. A betrayal of friendship and loyalty. A betrayal with a kiss. A betrayal of a loyal friend for mere money. Is money really worth betrayal? And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at another of the questions Jesus asked.